Welcome to the Wake Up Dad Show, a Daddiest production. This podcast is for you, Dad. This is where we talk about all things related to dadhood, from parenting to relationships to financial and physical health. Your hosts, Dr. Scott and Dr. Evan, are two dads who are committed to helping you. Join our Facebook community by searching Daddiest, where conscious dads connect and collaborate.
Hey dads, welcome to another episode of the Wake Up Dad Show. This is Scott and I'm here with my co-host Ev, and we're starting out a new year, which is pretty exciting all the way across the world. I'm in Australia, Ev's in Canada, and we've had, I'll say for myself, I've had a really great holiday season, a great break, and ready to get started again. So I think what we're going to talk about today is really what we've done in the past and what we're going to do, I think, in the future is really try and get to the heart of some of these amazing books that we're reading and try and get this information out in bite-sized pieces so that you dads don't have to necessarily read the book, although I do recommend that you do. This book today that we're going to mention and talk about is called the Motivation Manifesto, 9 Declarations to Claim Your Personal Power. The author's name is Brendon Burchard, and this is another one of those books that literally every sentence could be life-changing. I was going through the first couple of pages of the book that we're going to talk about today, and literally it was hard for me not to highlight every single sentence. So we're just going to really get into it, but I'll let Ev have a quick chat as well before we start into the book. How you been, Ev?
Excellent. Excited about 2019, moving into this year. With a fresh outlook and really excited for what we're going to be bringing with the Daddiest platform and the Wake Up Dad Show to all our listeners here, and really just spreading this message. So this book here, I think, falls really well under the we have the 6 P's of dadhood, and this would fall under purpose. And our recent poll in the Daddiest Facebook page revealed that purpose was one of the top areas that dads wanted to improve in 2019. And so, this book is, as you said, it's really juicy. It's every single line could be life-changing. And I think as I was reading this, I was thinking about, the 9-to-5 experience where perhaps there's some dads that are just kind of blah, like they're just going through the motions and maybe just really not feeling that sense of like passion and purpose in what they're actually doing. And I thought, wow, this book here, this could really make a huge difference for someone who's in that place that they just don't feel like they're growing and really on track with something that's really filling them up with that sense of excitement and purpose. So, yeah.
So you saying, can I sum it up by saying, and I bet you a lot of you dads out there have seen the Emoji Movie, that you're the meh, your life, meh. Is that, if that's the way life is at the moment, that's what we want to change. It's like, how can I be the best dad possible, but still find time and motivation to create a legacy and have a purpose outside of the actual being a dad to little kiddies, right? Mm-hmm. That's, I think for most of us who are probably listening to this podcast or within our Facebook group, they're dads who want to be the best dads possible, but to have a purpose outside of that as well, I think is quite important. And to find out what it is, or at least, you hear it all the time, this idea of, what's your purpose? What's your mission? And a lot of people, I think, just automatically tune out. So I don't know. My purpose is to get through the day. Like you said, the 9-to-5, and not necessarily that you have a job that's 9-to-5, because it doesn't matter what kind of job you're in, whether it's shift work, 9-to-5, night shift. It's the idea of the struggle of life, and without having a guiding star or like a true north of, okay, where am I trying to get to? What am I trying to do? And without that, the day-to-day can really, really take you down. And I think a big part of making the changes for that is to have other people to talk to about it, right? To have dads who've been there and done that, which is part of that Facebook page. So if you haven't joined it, go ahead and get in there. Check out daddies.com on Facebook, and then give us a message from there, and we can get you into the group. So let's have a chat about the book, Motivation Manifesto. So like the very first paragraph, I'm just going to read out, and then we'll have a quick discussion about it. So it's called the Declaration of Personal Power. There comes a time in the lives of those destined for greatness, which I believe that's what we all want, when we must stand before the mirror of meaning and ask, why, having been endowed with the courageous heart of a lion, do we live as mice? You know, and it's like, boom.
Drop the mic. Drop the
mic. That's right. We're done, right? So
we're going to put the book down now.
I swear, like, this is a book that continuously comes up in so many, like, my good mate Brian, he's in the group. He's another chiropractor in the group, and I saw on a post that he gave, or either he said it or he asked about, you know, what's the biggest books that have influenced your life? And I've seen that post numerous times. Every single time this book shows up, I've literally only read about 20 pages of this book. It's like about 230 page book, you know, usual size book. I've only got about 20 pages in, but I've read those 20 pages probably 4 or 5 times because I can't read usually more than a page or two. And I go, oh, I'm done. Like, wow, that was so much to absorb. And every time I read that first 20 pages, I get something more or different from it. So can't recommend it enough. I hope the rest of the book is just as good. I would assume it is, but I don't know. So let's digest this first paragraph. So, you know, as I said, I think, you know, if you listen to this podcast, if you're part of our group and our movement, you're destined to be great. You want more out of your life. And, you know, a lot of us do. Even though our lives might be really great, we're looking for something bigger or more, or some more meaning, more purpose. And why is it that if we're doing that and we're committed to it, that we don't do it, right? What does it say? With a courageous heart of a lion, why do we live as mice? Why are we not stepping into our greatness? And I think having that North Star of going in a particular direction is a huge thing. Why do we cower at the thought of revealing our true selves to the world? Why do we scurry so quickly from conflict? And the reason why that one's important for me is because I'm very guilty of this one. I'm not good with conflict. And I think I see it as a bit of a recurring theme as with dads, whether it be in the relationship with their kids or in the relationship with their partner or wife, that it's very easy to, I think it's a masculine trait to try and avoid conflict, to try and fix the problem and that's it, right? If you can't fix it, then avoid it. And I don't know if you have anything to add about that, but I'm very guilty of it, and I need to do more to not be a dick, right? Not create conflict for the sake of creating conflict, but to have a true north and to not sway too far from it. And I say that really importantly because I think nobody I don't believe that anybody has a true north that never deviates, that never gets distracted by the shiny things on the side of the road, right? Like we see an accident on the side of the road. We always look, and we're always that person who says, oh, look, the traffic's slow because everyone's going to slow down and have a look as we're slowing down to have a look, right? So, right, I know I do that. But, it's okay to slow down and have a look as long as you're being safe about it, but to keep going the right way. Slowing down, small deviations, smelling the roses, all good, but having that true north. And that's a big one for me this year, is to have a good focus on that. And I think we're going to have a lot of good episodes on that. We've got some really amazing people lined up for some amazing interviews coming up in the next little while. So stay tuned to that. But Ev, what do you want to add to this part?
Well, I just want to touch on what you said there about, avoiding conflict. So, the desire to fix something, if we can't do it, then avoid it. And I think, it's one of those things that, like, here's a good example. Like, I think this is pretty common in men when the relationship with their spouse isn't going very well, but maybe they're knocking it out of the park in their career. Guess where they're going to spend more time? They're going to go to where they're feeling more successful, the things that they can control and fix and that kind of thing. And it's harder to deal with the emotional conflict in a relationship and that sort of thing than to be able to call the shots and control something if that's what you're able to do with your job, and which is often the case. So yeah, to your point, and when it comes to kids, same thing. Like, there's a lot of men that I've been out as far as the Facebook land and watching certain groups and conversations, and often it comes up that the dads are explosive with their kids. They're losing their shit, losing their cool. And again, it's a form of trying to control an environment, and so it just escalates very quickly, and you're getting to that control now. This is a bit of a deviation, but getting back to what he's talking about, he's got a line here which I think is really powerful. It's we must not consent to be controlled by fear, convention, or will of the masses. And I think he really, what I think he's saying is that he doesn't want, or is that we have to look at what are we choosing to do? Are we choosing to follow along the path that of our the path that's been chosen for us, the path of sit at your desk and follow orders and and pay your taxes and do that for 50 years and then retire and die and like hopefully you get a few vacations in the mix, and you got a 50-50 chance of divorce, and like it's all pretty kind of like to me the whole thing. And I don't think go ahead.
I was going to say, I think what you're talking about is being average, right?
Yeah.
The average person makes this, whatever it is, 80,000. I don't know what the numbers are. The average person, 50% will divorce. The average person will die at 80. The average person will take 12.4 vacations in their life. Statistics are good in one way to get what the average is. But I believe that the best thing to do with statistics in these type of scenarios, for an extreme example, is to go, I'm going to smash these averages.
Yeah, smash
right? Smash them. I'm not just going to be one of the 50% that gets divorced. I'm going to be one of the 10% that has the best marriage out there. I'm not going to make $80,000 a year. I'm going to make $1,080,000 a year, or whatever it is that that where your true north is, where it desires. Because we talk about these different things, and you'll see this P6 come up a lot in our discussions: purpose, power, parenting, providing, passion, and play. And these are the general ideas that we believe are what's going to create the best dad possible, right? And we're working on them all the time. Nobody, I believe, has 100% in all of them, but we're all got our different strengths and weaknesses, and we're all working towards our goals. If we do have what our goals are, what our true north is, where we want to go, and have a plan in place, because I think that's the biggest one, is this unconsciousness about the day-to-day drudge, the 9 to 5, the just getting through the day, getting to the weekend, right? If you think Friday's the best day of the week and Monday's the worst day of the week, that's kind of shit.
Yeah, that's that's kind of the mouse versus the lion, who's actually like, let's go Monday, right? Like, it's creating that extraordinary life. And we were talking about this at the pre-show. It's really, I don't want to be knocking. I'm not knocking the 9 to 5. What I'm really saying is, it's like, like you can have your 9 to 5 and be doing that, and at the same time having an outlet or allowing that creative expression, that because really, like, we all desire to grow, to pursue our dreams, to achieve personal freedom. And if we're in a place in our life where we feel restricted and we feel like we're being confined and we're not able to really express our true selves, and I think for men in general, that's a real challenge, is true expression of ourselves, and we can really conform to social norm or whatever it may be. But to just allow yourself to, become more freely expressed, to have a creative outlet, to pursue, things that really make you feel alive, and do that. If you can't feel like you can do that in your 9 to 5, then find a way to do it outside of it. And then maybe you can trickle it into that, into your 9 to 5. And I'll speak personally, like, I was in chiropractor and did that for 10 years. And I came out of a very, like, it was like the white jacket type chiropractic college where, it was very like medical, stuffy. And I always felt like I had to be very sophisticated and straight and narrow. And oh my gosh, like I felt so robbed of my natural expression, and I did not enjoy the experience. I didn't enjoy it. And so, it really made a huge impact in how I felt about life and myself. And I felt demasculinated. It was such an odd experience. And I never felt like that before in my life. And it was a choice. That's the crazy thing about it. It was a choice. I had chosen to take that on. And it wasn't until I took personal responsibility and took inventory that I was able to make a change. And that really turned my life into another direction where now I feel like I'm overflowing. I feel like my cup is overflowing with purpose. It's literally like the amount of purpose that's coming out of my body could like fill someone else's cup and a whole other massive amounts of people's cups. And that's really from taking charge of my own life. So how about you, Scott? Any thoughts?
Well, something you said a second ago is what stood out the most of what you're just talking about, is this idea of this personal responsibility, right? So I think it's a huge one. There's a little quote that he has in here. Nothing external can save us. The fateful hour is at hand when we either become trapped at this level of life, which if it's a cool level that you're at, great. But, if it's not, that's where the change has to occur. Or we choose to ascend to a higher plane of consciousness and joy. And I mentioned that earlier about this idea of being completely unconscious, right? And that's just the go and the day to day. And I say the 9 to 5 again, but I'm not dissing the 9 to 5. If you enjoy your 9 to 5, fantastic, keep it, right? Like if it's fulfilling your cup, if it's doing those things, awesome. I'm just using that as an example. But this idea of personal power, this idea that no one's going to save you, it's a personal responsibility. And even you said you feel like you got enough purpose to fill other people's cups, but unfortunately you can't.
Nope.
Right? Like we might be able to, hopefully some of the things that we say will help propel you to look deeper into and fill your own cup. That's the whole idea behind this, right? We don't have it all figured out. We've got some things that we're doing okay with, and we're going to, try and share as much as we can. We're going to get a lot of people interviewed on this year's podcast that know a lot more than we do. And we can't wait because, again, we've got a good lineup coming that is going to teach us so much in the areas that we need help with. And I believe it is possible to have it all. The P6 of dadhood is possible. You put a post in our group recently. Let's discuss that for a minute. The idea of balance versus, what's the other word that was in? Do you remember, Ev? Yeah. Harmony versus balance. Yeah, talk about that. That was a great post you put in there. We had a lot of good responses.
Yeah, so it was this was actually information that came to me from the creator of BNI, Business Networking International, and his last name is Meisner, I believe. I'm not giving him full credit right now, but
that's
you
all
can
right,
look him
bro.
up. You can look him up on Google. Yeah, recalling names is not my biggest strength.
Me neither.
No,
Me neither, Greg.
So yeah, really, he said that that balance is really not what the goal is. It's not you don't focus on achieving balance, and because you look at the different areas of life. So let's say it's your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your wife, and then you've got your how much money that you're making, and your recreation time, and your health, and all that. Well, how do you balance those? Like, how do you even quantify that they're balanced? Like, what's the measurement? Is it time? Is it focus that you're putting into these different things? It's very hard to actually quantify it. And so he actually says, like, make focus about harmony. Harmony is a feeling, and it's not necessarily about how much time you're doing, putting into any particular area. It's the experience of when you think about that, what awareness do you have? So if you check in, how do I feel about my relationship with my wife or my partner? And if your answer is that it sucks, or like it's distant, or we are not intimate, or like I'm unhappy, well, obviously there's not harmony there. So that's an area to put some attention, put some focus. If you are thinking about your relationship with your kids, and you're like, yeah, like I'm constantly fighting with my daughter, or I don't feel connection with them. I don't feel like they're happy to see me when I see them. Then, yeah, again, like, it's an area to put focus. So it's really focusing on feeling. And what I like about it is it allows for the ebbs and flows of life to happen, because there's times where more time and energy may be required in a particular area of your life. Like, we just finished 2 weeks of holidays, and I was full on family and spending time with my wife, and I was, I just really immersed in that. And the other side of life, my business, that element, I wasn't spending as much energy or time, but when I thought about it, I was still in harmony. Right? But if I was trying to find balance, and I was thinking about, is it like I've only spent 2 hours on my business in the last week, I might be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not in balance at all. But when I thought about those 2 hours that I did, I said, those are exactly what I needed to do. And in that week, and I'm feeling totally in harmony with that, and I'm feeling totally in harmony with my family. And so it allows for the ebbs and flows. And so, yeah, I think tying that back into this what we're talking about today, if you think about your job and you don't feel good about that, and you feel like you're living like a mouse when it comes to like your potential in earning, then it might be time to put some effort into that and to make some decisions and work towards something. And you could look at all the different areas, but this book's really good about highlighting purpose. And really, I think one of the things that I took away from this, Scott, was highlighting that as human beings, we have nature wants to give us abundance. It wants to allow us to be free and to be fully expressed and all these different things. And it really comes down to us choosing whether that's what we are going to allow into our life, and to make the choice, and then actually go for it. Take the actions to create your life as you wish it would be. And I can speak from personal experience. When you get that level of awareness and you start taking those actions, your life will take form, and it will grow in the direction that you were aiming for. And that's the lion. The lion does that. The lion makes shit happen. The mouse is just scurrying around trying to find places to hide. And the lion is getting out there and getting shit done. And I think, the element of taking personal responsibility, it requires courage. There's that masculinity in that direction and focus, and taking some time just to create some clarity as to what it is that you want to do. So, yeah.
I think to sum that up, the lion eats the mice for breakfast.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah.
There was one more. Go ahead.
No, I just there's been times in my life where, we've been reading a great book called Pitch Anything. And Pitch Anything is phenomenal in the sense of, there's so many skills that we can learn in that. But one of the things that really sticks out in my mind is controlling frame when you're in a situation, say it's a negotiation, or even just a conversation with another male. Maybe you're talking to an alpha male and he's like, it's like he's the lion and he's like taking control. And it reminds me of that book, actually, is, The Lion and the Mouse, and understanding frame control, and understanding how to actually stand your ground. So, for example, let's say I can remember times where I felt like a mouse. Scott, you remember CMCC?
We won't get into that story at the moment, but yeah.
So there was a time where both Scott and I felt like a mouse, and there we
a mouse
had
is poo, actually, I think.
Yeah, and we had people that were controlling our frame. And so, there is some element of, I think, understanding your dynamic in which you live in, and if it's your career, and ways to communicate, and there's skills involved that you can learn to do this communication. I think that Pitch Anything is actually a really powerful book to really understand communication between people, because it's such a strong way to build power in your life is through communication. And so anything that helps you become a better communicator with your wife, with your kids, with your boss, with your employees, those are all going to help propel your desires to be lived, right? And I think one of the biggest challenges with men is actually communicating our ideas, and again, I think, and doing it in a way that isn't aggressive or hostile. It's really just communication, and that's a really powerful thing, that if we can express our ideas and continue to take the actions to move towards them, we can create that life that we've dreamed of.
Yeah, and I'll speak for myself, where that's where I think, for me, conflict, the word conflict itself sounds like it's a negative, a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And I do tend to, if there's something that I want to stand my ground on, so to speak, and it would create conflict, it can pretty easily go from 0 to 10 in aggression to get your point across. And that's where then I go, oh, well, I don't want to be the 10 aggressor, so I'm just not going to do it. Right. So, maybe I'm speaking to a few dads out there, because that's something that I'm really going to be working on this year, is to be able to get my point across, to create conflict, but not in an aggressive way, in a way that keeps me on my true north, on the path that I'm choosing to be the best I can be. But I don't need to be aggressive or a dick about it. I just want to, do what I need to do without creating the issues in other people's lives.
So I've got a really powerful experience that I had. It was actually New Year's, and I was over
just this past New Year's.
Yeah, this past New Year's.
Yeah, cool.
So
yep.
We're at our friend's place. There was 4 couples there, and and it was at Joe's house actually, and
Yeah.
we're in his basement, and there is this painting on the wall, or his picture on the wall, and it said, "Always be kind."
Mm-hmm.
Always be kind. And I was like, wow. I'm like, there's times where I think that I'm not kind to my kids. Like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, there's times where I'm not kind. And there's times where I'm not kind to my wife. There's times I'm not kind to myself. Like,
so all kinds of times you're not kind to me. Nah, I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, you are.
Sort of.
Yeah. So I just it really struck me, and I think that became a true north for me. And my son asked me, "Hey, Dad, do you have any resolutions for this year?" And I said, "Yeah, it's to always be kind." And I think that that's what you're saying is really, to get your point across, but not to do it in a way to be a dick or to put somebody down and that kind of thing. So it allows you to be in a constructive conversation that maybe gets heated. But it's not, you're not being unkind, and, you're not, taking somebody down and that kind of thing. And I think, really the world can have powerful leaders that are still have that value of humanity, and that we are all equal, and versus, taking somebody down and like making fun of them or ridiculing them or whatever, like that's not serving the other person at all. And it's really just, something within ourselves that's causing us to put somebody else down. It's dealing with our own stuff. So yeah, I don't know if that hits home for you at all, but I thought, wow, what a great mantra.
Absolutely. I've seen that somewhere very recently. It might have been on Facebook or something. I can't even remember. But it's definitely a great mantra. And it's funny how you mentioned about we're all created equal, because that's this last quote I want to sort of clue up the show on. But I do have a little surprise for the end of the show. Mm-hmm. This quote here is, all men are created equal, though we do not live equal lives due to difference in will, motivation, effort, and habit. The greatest of human powers is the ability to independently think for ourselves, to choose our own aims, affections, and actions. And I think that's probably a great way to finish up the show. Is we are all created equal. I think for the most part, we have equal opportunity in today's world. Why is it that some people fulfill the life of their dreams or get close to it, if that's even a possibility to completely fulfill? Because as you fulfill your dreams, more dreams come up all the time. But why is it that some seem to have amazing lives and others horrendous lives? And I think it does come back to our own free will and ability to choose our aims, affections, and actions. Did you want to say anything to finish up before I give you my surprise little ending?
Well, only that if you search and it doesn't come up yet, because the website is going to be launched soon. So hopefully it is up by the time you do that. If not, just search Daddius in Facebook and you'll be able to request to join our group from there.
Yeah, check out the page. We've been really focusing a lot of our energy on the closed group that only has dads involved inside, whereas the page anyone can like and share and all of that kind of stuff. So if you go there and message that page, it will obviously come to us, and that's where you can request to get into the whatever it is, closed secret group. So here's my little thing. We haven't discussed this pre-show, so I'm going to see what you think. I got this amazing dad joke book for Christmas. It's called Dad Jokes, The Good, the Bad, the Terrible by Jimmy Nero. And there's 1,000 dad jokes in here. So I think we should end the episodes when I have the book. I can't promise I'll have the book for every episode, but finish it off with a dad joke. So I'm just going to randomly flick the page. Don't know if you can hear that. flicking the page. All right, and there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jokes on this page. All right, here we go. What's the biggest pan in the world? Japan.
I was very close to getting that.
Were you?
Yeah, I was.
I should have given you an extra second. I was like, I'm waiting. Is he going to answer, or is he waiting for me to answer?
Yeah, I was almost there, but yeah, good stuff. All right, well, let's keep it going.
All right. See you in the next episode, guys.
See you in the next episode. Thanks for listening. Remember, join our Facebook community, Daddiest, where conscious dads connect and collaborate.